But let's get a move on and focus in on the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. It's been hailed as a paradigm shift from the erstwhile insolvency regime in India. It's completed 4 years. We talk about some of the key milestones as well as what is the road ahead. Joining in to discuss that is Mr. MS Sahoo, Chairperson of the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India. Thank you so much for taking time out. Just wanted to get in a sense as to what you would look at that have been some of the major milestones, the major accomplishments of IBC, which has just turned 4 years old.
Thank you. As you know, this Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code is a very deep economic reforms which promises to grant the ultimate economic freedom to exit and balance the rights of various stakeholders in case of insolvencies. The law was enacted on 28th May 2016. Entire ecosystem comprising of insolvency professionals, insolvency entities, agencies, and the other constituents like the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India and National Company Law Tribunal and Appellate Tribunal, and the entire regulatory framework for corporate insolvency part, such as the corporate insolvency resolution process, fast-track resolution process, liquidation process, voluntary liquidation process, everything was put in place in less than 6 months. The transactions commenced on 1st of December 2016. This itself is a great accomplishment by any standard, not only in India, even abroad. In 6 months' time, everything was put in place, transactions commenced. The milestones, other milestones are, this also required a new professional called valuation profession. Also required a new entity called information utility, which has no parallel anywhere in the world. These were also set up in the due course, and these are functional because for valuation, we are talking about value maximization. We need a credible value to compare and take informed decisions. No such profession was there. That has been created, in fact, on a more better institutional framework for complete development and regulation of the profession is on the way. About 4,000 companies have been admitted into insolvency resolution process. About 1,300 of them have completed the process and moved on. Of them, about 250 to 300 companies have been completely resolved. That means the new management has taken over. The creditors have got their money. The realization for financial creditors as compared to the liquidation value has been in nearly 200%. If those companies were liquidated, they would have got at best 100. By resolution, they have got 200. Additional 100 is the bonus. But as a percentage of their claims, this works out about 45%. But this is far ahead of other options of recovery available to bankers or other creditors, like debt recovery route, surface area route, low adalat route, where the recovery percentage is much less. Let me emphasize that this is not a recovery law, but this is a byproduct. But what has happened is the big behavioral change that is the biggest achievement that has redefined the debtor and creditor relationship forever. There's a credible threat that if it reaches the NCLT process, right, the company may change hands. Mr.
Sahoo, sure.
Yes.
Right, appreciate, the evolvement that we've seen of the IBC and some of the key milestones that you flagged off. But given the fact that there have been many modifications as well made since its inception, how do you think it's more capable in its latest, most recent avatar?
See, this was a new law, a deep reforms, having no prior experience. It's a market-led, incentive-compliant, time-bound. Everything had to be created afresh. Everything was to be learned from the beginning. And therefore, and as it affected the rights of various stakeholders, there were issues which came up as it went ahead with implementation. The very first resolution plan that was in case of Synergy Dure, where the Creditors had to take a 94-95% haircut, but the company remained with the same set of promoters who were responsible for running down the companies. That was not acceptable. The law changed very promptly. In November 2017, famous Section 29A came, which told that incapable, incredible people will not be allowed to submit resolution plans. So the code has been making prompt corrections. There have been 5 such legislative interventions, including last one, which came by way of an ordinance in the wake of COVID, which suspended the initiation of resolution processes in case of COVID defaults. But each of these is a milestone, and I consider insolvency reforms is a road under construction. As a new things come up, we come across the problems. I gave you the problems of same promoters continuing in the management. We had the problem of home buyers. These are unique to Indian conditions. So these problems arise, but there's a keenness among everybody, including regulator, government, and the parliament, to address the problems expeditiously.
Sure. Mr. Sahoo, want to understand what role can the IBC really play in facilitating personal insolvency norms as well as improving the current structure of all resolutions which are in the oversight of the IBC? And if you could really add to that as to what laws and policies also do you really feel need to be amended in order to really achieve the establishment of strong personal insolvency?
Okay. Personal or individuals, the parliament has divided them into 3 categories. The first category is called personal guarantors to corporate debtors. Second is proprietorship and partnership firms. And third is other individuals. So the personal guarantors to corporate debtors, that is the bridge between corporate insolvency and individual insolvency. A corporate which has taken a loan may have a guarantor. That guarantor could be a corporate guarantor, that could be a personal guarantor. But the person who has given the loan, he has given the loan based on the agreement or understanding that if the principal debtor fails, the guarantor shall be responsible. There is a joint and several liability of these guarantors. We started corporate insolvency, which of course included the corporate guarantors to the corporate debtors, but we did not start or could not start early the personal guarantors to corporate debtors. The resolution will be comprehensive, complete. The creditor will have complete relief, as well as the guarantor, who is supposed to subrogate into the shoes of the financial creditor, also will have complete relief if the resolution of the corporate debtor and the resolution of a personal guarantor to the corporate debtor are taken together. And that is what it has started from December 2019. The insolvency resolution of personal guarantors has started. We could not have treated the corporate guarantors and personal guarantors on a 2 different level playing field. As regards the merits of the personal insolvency schemes, the resolution things, we had a different set of law called Presidential Towns Act 1909, Provincial Insolvency Act 1920, but those were quite outdated and at least did not meet the requirements of current times when the focus has shifted to rehabilitation of the debtors. We moved away from the remedy against the person of the debtor to the property of the debtor. So we wanted that there should be a more human approach to deal with insolvency of individuals. Individuals includes, as I told, the second category, the proprietorship firms and partnership firms. They are the entrepreneurs. They are the largest group of entrepreneurs who should have the flexibility to get in, get out, and undeterred by the failure. As I mentioned earlier, this law is for freedom of exit. It promotes entrepreneurship. So we need to provide a mechanism to those individuals who have started proprietorship and partnership firms, have failed in the business. They must have a way to get out of that. They must get out, have an earned start, and restart life afresh. So what this law does is that It says, let's move about the concept of acts of insolvency, which is very confusing. Let's go to an objective way of looking at the default. And let's provide a moratorium when there's a breathing space for the debtor and creditor to negotiate a repayment plan. Let's provide the professional services, independent professionals to stakeholders, and prescribe, unlike the earlier mechanism, let's first try resolution. When the resolution fails, if the debtor or creditor, either of them wishes, let them move to bankruptcy process. Bankruptcy process is not automatic. And there is the most important is that this new law enables automatic discharge on expiry of 1 year or 7 days from the completion of the sale of the administration of the bankruptcy estate, whichever is earlier. Unlike the previous one, the discharge was discretionary upon the adjudicating authority, which could be denied if the debtor has not conducted well in the run-up to the during insolvency. This is a much more comprehensive regime which provides for fresh start process, insolvency resolution process, bankruptcy process with a more human approach, which in fact protects certain things like the dwelling unit. Somebody has a house, he has to continue to live, he must have a subsistence living. Those cannot be dealt under the insolvency process.
Sure. Mr. Sahoo, great to have you on the show today, and congratulations once again on turning 4.
Thank you.